Well, hello there, and welcome to this edition of Thought for the Week. You probably don't know too much about me, but I was raised in a Somerset village called Martock, full of beautiful hamstone buildings and one of the most remarkable parish churches in the southwest. It's a lovely village. It nestles between the town of Yeovil and the Somerset Levels. Well, I was immersed in the life of an agricultural community. And when I grew up, I worked for an agricultural engineer. So I was always surrounded by farmers and by people that worked on farms and farming life in general. Now, in the company for whom I worked, we had a number of highly trained fitters, and they could work wonders with the most intricate machinery. They were very clever guys. And in order to do it, they had to submit to a rigorous program of apprenticeship, training to do the job as well as they possibly could. In fact, if they were not prepared to knuckle down and be trained thoroughly, there was no way they would be allowed to touch a customer's tractor or combine harvester. You can imagine, can't you? But our apprentices were trained by highly skilled and experienced fitters who themselves had been through the same strict program. The fact is that in order to train others, you need to be able to train them through being trained yourself. So to do it is to be trained to do it. Now, you can relate this to all kinds of things, can't you? You can relate it to medicine. Doctors are taught over a number of years at medical school, but it's essential that they have practical experience, medical placement on hospital wards, being trained in the practical application of what they have learned through their academic studies. If you needed an operation, would it satisfy you to know that the surgeon had read an enormous amount about conditions like yours? Or would you prefer to know he had on-the-job training to apply what he'd studied? It applies to things like the police force, doesn't it? Trainees have to combine studies in class with experienced guidance from more senior officers out in the real world to enable them to do the work of a good copper. But then again, it applies to industry and to commerce, everything really. Apprenticeships are designed to combine academic studies with on-the-job training under the watchful eye of a skilled tradesman who shows them how to do a thing and trains them to do it themselves, just as he does it. I suppose you could say it applies to every area of life. But however widely understood the principle is that it takes teaching plus on-the-job training to produce competence, we still fall into the trap of allowing training in spiritual matters to be neglected in our churches. And this produces non-effective Christians, pew fillers, and not warriors for Christ. And when we're talking about spiritual warfare, my word, that comes into sharp focus. Are we trained to minister in the name of Jesus? Well, that's quite a thought, and I want to pick it up with you next time. But for now, lovely to talk to you, and goodbye.